right, this is your Geometry Chapter 3 practice test. So the top section is just vocab. Choose the correct term. A blank intersects two or more coplanar lines at distinct points. I believe that is a transversal. Number 2, the measure of an exterior angle of a triangle is equal to the sum of the measures of its two remote interior angles. Number 3, the linear equation y minus 3 equals 4 times the quantity x plus 5 is in point slope form. Number 4, when two coplanar lines are cut by a transversal, the angles formed between the two lines and on opposite sides of the transversal are alternate interior. Number 5, non-coplanar lines that do not intersect would be skew. And then number 6, the linear equation y equals 3x minus 5 is in slope-intercept form. All right, there won't actually be vocab like this on your quiz. It's just a good idea to review it so you know how to use it. All right, number 7. First of all, you do not need to name the specific lines in transversal. And this is very hard to see. On your actual test, it only has 2 parallel lines or 2 lines cut by a transversal. It doesn't have all of these several lines. So I actually even had a problem with number 8, trying to find same side interior. I was turning the paper and I couldn't really tell. So for alternate interior, I put 3 and 6. That may not be the only correct answer, but that's all I really found before just moving on. Same side interior, I think if I turned this paper, I decided maybe 2 and 6 might be interior if this is the transversal and A and B are the 2 lines. But I don't really love that either. So I'll put 2 and 6. If you guys have a better answer, come talk to me and let me know. I don't love that answer. Number 9, again, on your actual test, it'll be a lot easier to see. Number 9, corresponding angles. There's a lot of these. I found 1 and 4, 5 and 2, and then if you're looking at it slightly differently, it could be 5 and 1 and 2 and 4. So, I mean, as long as you have one of those or some of those. Number 10, alternate exterior angles. I just put 1 and 7. There might be others, again, like I said, but I kind of stopped because this was really hard to see. So sorry about that. All right, let's move on down to numbers 11 and 12. The relationship between angles 1 and 2 and 11 is that they are corresponding. The relationship in number 12 between 1 and 2 is they are alternate interior. I'm abbreviating that. Back up here to number 13. Find the measure of angle 1 and 2 and then justify your answers. So 1 would be 120 and my justification is that these are corresponding. I'm abbreviating that. And then 2 would also be 120. This could be because 1 and 2 are vertical, or you could have said that down here 120 and angle 2 up here are alternate exterior angles. Okay, number 14, the measure of angle 1 would be 75 degrees because these two are same side interior. And then angle 2, you have some options here. It's definitely 105. You could have either gone straight from this 105 to this 105 because these two are alternate interior, or you could have used the 75 and 105 because these are supplementary or a linear pair. Okay, number 15, find the values of x and y. In this, it's kind of hard to see. These were copied really light. So I first did a linear or a supplementary with 118, y, and 25. Because these would all make a straight line and they would add up to 180. So I did 118 plus y plus 25. equals 180, and that gave me for y 37 degrees. So basically what I did is I took 180, I subtracted 118, I subtracted 25, and that gave me 37. Okay, and then for x, you could do this a couple different ways. These are marked up as parallel. It's hard to see, but they are. So angle 118 is corresponding to angle x. So you could have just known just right like that x and 118 are corresponding. So x is going to be 118. Or you could have, let's see, what else could you do? Oh, you know that this exterior angle 118 is equal to the two remote interior angles. So 118 would have to equal, no, that wouldn't work, would it? So I guess you have to use corresponding there. Well, you could do 37 and 25. And 37 plus 25 equals 62. And if this angle is 62, then this one would have to be 118. All right, next page. The next page, let's see. It says find the values for x which makes L parallel to M. So basically these are equal to each other because they're alternate interior. So you just set these equal to each other. 3x plus 5 equals 65. I assume you solved all that and worked it all out, and I got that x equals 20. All right, on number 17, these two are supplementary because this angle is the acute angle and this angle is the obtuse angle. So these two would be 130, and then this plus this would add up to 180. So these two add up to 180. So I would do 180 equals the 130 plus the 2x plus 10, and then combine like terms and solve your equation. And I got x equals 20 on this one as well. So let me know if you got some different answers than I did. Number 18, let's see. Decide which lines are parallel and then justify. So angle 1 and angle 9, those would be corresponding. So that would make angle, let's see, it would be N and P. So you'd put N is parallel to P. And again, because these two are corresponding, we're actually doing the opposite. We're naming them parallel so that that would be corresponding converse. This is all going to be converse because we're doing the opposite. This time we're trying to prove that the lines are parallel, not trying to prove that the lines or the angles are congruent. So it's backwards, so that's why these are all converse. All right, angle 3 plus angle 6, really that just has to do with this group. That doesn't have anything to do with down here or over here. So this just 3 plus 6 equals 180 has nothing to do with parallel lines. So this one would be none. You cannot prove any lines parallel if angle 3 plus angle 6 equals 180. 2 plus 3 equals 180. Okay, 2 plus 3 equals 180 would mean that line L and M are parallel. So line L would be parallel to line M, and the relationship is same side interior. So put something like same side interior converse. I'm abbreviating again. And then angle 5 is congruent to angle 11. 5 and 11, that would mean N is parallel to P. N is parallel to P, and the relationship between 5 and 11 is that they are alternate interior, so you'd need to put something like alternate interior converse. All right, going over here to 22, 23, and 24. 22, if B and C are perpendicular and B and D are perpendicular, then the relationship between C and D is they are parallel. And you don't have to name these theorems, you just need to know them. If C is parallel to D, so C is parallel to D, then which one would be perpendicular to C? So we know that this one is, which would mean that the one above it would also have to be if these two are parallel. So that would be A. So A would be perpendicular to C. Okay, maps, I actually had to draw this one out. Morris Avenue intersects both 1st Street and 3rd Street. So here's 1st Street and here's 3rd Street. 1 and 3, 1st Street and 3rd Street. Morris Avenue intersects them at right angles. So here's Morris Avenue, and it intersects them both at right angles. All right, and then it says 3rd Street is parallel to 5th. So if 3rd Street is parallel to 5th, then how are 1st and 5th related? So 1st and 5th would also be parallel. And again, I didn't make you guys write down the theorems up here, so I'm not going to make you explain it right here. Okay, moving on to 25. Number 25, remember the exterior angle of a triangle, or actually of any angle, well, specifically a triangle in this case, is the same as the remote interior angles added together. So, but we don't have that. So let's find the values. What we know is 120 equals 60 plus this one, because these are the two remote interior angles. So that would mean this one, x, would also have to be 60. You could have also found y because these two are on a linear pair. So 120 plus 60 equals 180. So, and also these add up to 180, the interior angles. Okay, number 26. Again, you can do a couple different things. 135 equals 90 plus x, but also y is on a linear pair. And then once you get x or y, you can add them with the 90 and subtract from 180. So several different ways to do this. I think I am going to use the linear pair first. So 135 from 180 leaves 45, I believe. And then 45 plus 90 would mean x would also be 45. Okay, for 27, 3 angles of a triangle are given. Find the value of x. Obviously, all you do is add them up and set them equal to 180, because triangles always add up to 180. So if you added all those up, it would have been 6x. They equal 180. When you do that math, x would be equal to 30. All right, 28, x plus x plus x is 3x, plus 10 minus 20 plus 25 is 15. I hope I did that right. Equals 180, because they're triangles, so they all add up to 180. Do the math. I believe it's x equals 55. Number 29, 20x plus 30x plus 7x is 57x, I think. Gosh, I hope I'm doing this right. 10 minus 2 plus 1 is 9, plus 9, equals 180. Solve your equation. I got that x equals 3. All right, go over to, oh, there aren't 30 and 31 and 32 and 33. So actually, let's do this bottom one first. You don't need to do this 4 times. So let's cross off the evens, actually. Let's just do every other one. There's a lot of problems here. So we don't need to, I mean, if you want the extra practice, go for it. But you don't need to do this 4 different times. I think on your test, you only have to do it twice. So let's do it twice in the practice. AB and CD are lines. We need to find if they're parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Parallel, remember, would have the same slope. Perpendicular, remember, would have opposite reciprocal slopes. And then neither would be, obviously, if the slopes have no relationship. So let's find the slope of AB and the slope of CD. Remember, to find slopes, it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let's start in. So 11 minus negative 4 over 2 minus negative 1. That would be 15 over 3, which is 5. Okay, and then C and D, 10 minus 1. I'm glad we have this space over here. 4 minus 1, that'd be 9 over 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So the two slopes are 5 and 3, which has nothing to do with anything. So therefore, the relationship for this one is neither. All right, let's try 43. So 2 minus 3 over 0 minus negative 3. 2 minus 3 is negative 1. 0 minus negative 3 is 3. So we've got 1/3, negative 1/3. And then negative 6 minus 3 over negative 2 minus 1. That's negative 9 over negative 3, which is positive 3. So the relationship between negative 1/3 and positive 3 is they are opposite reciprocals. So that would make this line perpendicular, these two lines perpendicular. All right, 45. I know I skipped this whole section over here. We'll come back to it. All right, 45. Write an equation of the line parallel. Okay, remember parallel is same slope. So I am going to borrow negative 6 as my x and 2 as my y and solve this using 8 as the same slope. So I'm going to put y equals mx plus b. My y that I'm borrowing is 2. My slope I'm going to keep the same because parallel lines have the same slope. And then my x that I'm borrowing is negative 6. I don't know b. That's what we're going to try to find our new equations b. All right, so that's negative 48. You would add 48 to both sides, which means b equals 50. Ooh, good thing we're not graphing this. So our equation of a line parallel to this one would be y equals 8x because it's parallel, and the b is 50, so plus 50. All right, now for perpendicular, remember it's opposite reciprocal slopes. So instead of 1/6, I'm going to use negative 6 over 1, or just negative 6. So same thing, y equals mx plus b, but I'm going to borrow this x and this y, and I'm going to flip my slope to the opposite reciprocal. So negative 3 equals negative 6 times positive 3, because I'm borrowing it, plus b. That would be negative 18 plus b. So therefore, I'm going to add 18 to both sides. And b would be 15. So put it all together with my opposite reciprocal slope because it's perpendicular. And it is y equals negative 6x plus 15. All right, let's go look at this last section up here. Find the slope. Well, we've already been doing that, so that's just y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I'm just going to write this answer, double check your work. I got negative 1. This one, 35, when you solve it, at first you get negative 3 over 0. And I don't know if you guys remember this from algebra, but put it in your calculator and check and see what happens if you have a number and divide it by 0. You get an error message. You can't divide by 0. So what this would look like if you were graphing it is it would be a vertical line. So since it's a divide by 0 error, it's a vertical line, the slope is considered undefined. So any vertical line has an undefined slope, and you figure that out mathematically by dividing by 0, and you get that error message. So it's undefined. All right, 36, we're not going to be able to then graph the line because I didn't give you graph paper. Oh, same thing here. So just name the slope and y-intercept. The slope m is 2, and the y-intercept, which is b, is negative 1. The slope and a point, that's back to point slope form. So the slope here is negative 2, and a point on the line, this was my x1, this was my y1, but the formula is subtracting, and if it's adding, then that means it must have been negative to begin with. So negative 5 and 3. So a point, on the line is negative 5, 3, and the slope is negative 2. All right, 38, write an equation, super easy. It gives us the slope and y-intercept, so let's just call it y equals negative half x plus b, which is 12. Great, easy enough. Now it's giving us a slope and a point. So you have a couple of different options here. You can either write it in point slope form, or you can just write y equals mx plus b like we did down here, and you can put in the point. You can borrow this point for your x and y, and you've got your slope, and solve for your new b. So I'll do one of each. I'll do this one in point slope form. So that would be y minus negative 9. So minus a negative is going to make it y plus 9 equals the slope, which is 3, times the quantity x minus my x coordinate, which is 1. And then you can just distribute it and get y by itself. And I totally lost you guys. I'm sorry about that. It's long enough my computer went to sleep. We're almost done, I promise, sorry. So 3x minus 3, y plus 9. I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides. And you can do it this way. 3x minus 12. Or we could have done it the way I'm going to do number 40. So I'm out of room, so let me do this down here. So number 40, first we need to find the slope, and we don't have it. It didn't give it to us. So I'm going to do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and I'm going to get a slope of 4. Negative over negative is positive. And what you can do is you can just borrow one of the coordinates and plug it into y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to borrow 4 for my x. I'm going to borrow 2 for my y. We're going to use the slope we just calculated for the m, and we're going to solve to find the b. So this would be 16. You would subtract that 16 from both sides. b equals negative 14. So then put it all together. Y equals 4x minus 14. So you can do this in point slope form and then convert it to slope intercept, or you can just borrow one of the coordinates to plug into already slope intercept form and solve it that way. So either way,